everyone. Welcome back to Autocrat Primer. Well, excuse me, a community for all of us. We are back. Sorry about this. And I have my wonderful, I got audio and everything playing in the background. Guess what happens when you have, I don't have my headset any longer. We have to wait till we have some money come in before I can get me a new headset. But tonight we're going to be talking about Star Wars. And I'll show off some of the stuff that we have and talk about what's been going on with Star Wars this month and also with Fortnite and everything. But how are you doing, my co-host Harold? How are you doing today?
I am doing pretty doggone good, but pretty doggone good. Good Lord, listen to how that came out.
Yeah, that's all right. That's cool. So we hadn't really got a chance to talk this week. It's like everything that decided to. I was supposed to have a doctor's appointment. It ended up getting canceled. Um, when it gets hot, my heart doesn't want to act like it's got common sense. So I have not. I've been laid up pretty much all week. This is the most I've moved, and the house is all nice and dark because I just my body was like, I can't do it this week. The heat's been way too much. How's the heat for you where you are? Has it been
Ooh,
a killer?
well, it's been pretty hot down here, but I had a little day of aggravation, and I got more done in the yard than what I was gonna get done. But then again, you can do some amazing things when you're aggravated.
That that's true. I we had yard work that we I needed to get done, and the heat just kicked my butt, and I was like,
Hmm.
I'm not going to. And then we had an ant problem. We had been wondering what had happened um with our ladybugs,
Uh huh.
and to come to find out, apparently we have an ant problem, so we had to go and get stuff that I need to put out to kill them, and it's like it's
Hmm.
just crazy, yeah. But got a lot to talk about for Star Wars today. But
Hmm.
as I'm getting everything moving and doing like it's supposed to, um, tell us a little bit about your interesting um news that is technically Star Wars related.
Well, um, I am officially a Droid Smiths Union member.
Now tell us a little bit about all this. This is for anyone that doesn't know and how you got into it. I'm going to let you take the show for a moment while I get our other slides pulled up.
Well, the Droid Smiths Union is on Facebook. It's a Facebook group. It is a costuming group that is a has grown up to the point where it's officially recognized and acknowledged by Lucasfilms.
Okay.
And so there's like you get placed. You can show up at have Droid Smith meetups at like sporting events, conventions, and they refer to those as service calls. And
Okay. And a service call, like when you go to the convention, there's a service call.
I think so.
That's pretty cool.
but
That's pretty
but
cool.
yeah, that's what they call the Droid Smith meetup.
Nice. Um, Now how did you get okay, so it was with Facebook, but how
Hmm.
did you get into doing this?
Well, actually, this all started when I connected with this one guy with over TikTok. When and his name on TikTok as well as YouTube is Call Me Mo, but his
Okay.
his name's Andy, and was also a member of the Droidsmith Union. I'm like,
That's cool.
and he's actually trying to build a life size version of his Galaxy's Edge droid Mo,
Okay.
and although they refer to him as Trentamo as the life size version, that's what they are calling him.
That's cool. That's cool, actually. Um, so as I'm pulling up our stuff, so y'all met on Facebook,
No, we
and
met on TikTok.
oh, you met on TikTok. Okay. All right. So you met on TikTok, and then for TikTok, I'm gonna bring myself back into the thing so you're not so big. I think I got all our stuff together and ready. And so I love the droids. Droids have always been my favorite side of Star
Yes.
Wars as a kid. You know, R2D2, C3PO, going to Tatooine, having to escape in the desert, dealing with all that. You know, it's just like um as a Transformer fan, I was automatically gravitated towards the droids. And I remember the cartoon that came out, which was Droids, and I loved it. I also got you know, then there was a comic book that was done by Dark Horse, and I got it, still have it in my
Mhm.
collection, and they just have a really nice part, especially being a Transformer, you know, guy. Robots, I've always said that when AI
Yes.
comes on, and if I made it mad, I will be the first thing it terminates. I just know it. I always said that it like a Terminator. If a T800 or a T1000 came back and it was like a female, and it was in a female form, the humanity would die that day. It would be over. It would be, humanity would end. John Connor would die. If I was John Connor, would die right then and there. Um, so Nikki always laughs because I love the film bots and I always get film bots. And then, but you
Yeah.
really didn't have a lot of that with
No.
Star Wars per se. That was the great thing about them, was that they were essentially kind of like asexual. There was like no sexuality with the droids, and that's something I've always liked about Star Wars, is that you didn't have to have that. But the other thing cool about Star Wars is that cybernetics, robots, you know, Luke losing his hand, find out later on that, you know, that's what Darth Vader, Anakin had lost his hand and he got a robotic arm.
Mhm.
I have always been amazed with the technology. And so you are a part of this, which for me, I'm gonna be honest with you, is a part of me is extremely happy for you. A part of me is like, I feel so sad that I don't know anything how to do this. But I love the fact that you got the patches. I love the fact that you got this and you got this going on. Now, do you have your sidekick yet? Do you have him ready uh for the shows and stuff? And if so, I want to make your screen bigger.
He is not ready. He is not the way I want him to be yet, but he'll get there.
Nice. He looks
R
awesome. He
five
looks awesome.
R5J30, aka Jethro.
Jethro, I love it. I love it. He
He
looks
has
really
a
good.
oh, thank you. He has a black first order personality chip
Oh,
embedded.
cool.
But what I want to do is get the arms or get the legs taken off of him,
Okay.
and then get him some fairy droid arms and legs,
Okay.
and then get him some like cowboy clothes.
Nice. Very cool. That is so cool. I have the R2D2 um that will come to you on voice command and stuff. So um years ago, my mom actually got that. That's like one of the toys that my mom ever got me
Mhm.
herself was the R2D2, and it has all the voice commands, and you sit there and um, you tell it what to do, and eventually it kind of like learns your speech pattern, and which was really
Mhm.
cool. Um, so yeah, I have that, and it's in my comic room. I'm hoping to be able to get it out along with a lot of other Star Wars characters that we have. And when we get studio room completely gutted, like we need it, and set up, there'll be panels with Transformers and Star Wars. And speaking of that, I have to show off some things that I got on Amazon because the it's May 4th, which is my father-in-law's birthday, which he's got like the coolest birthday for Star Wars. So I got
Yes.
Nikki. Nikki loves the creatures, so I got this for Nikki from the Boba Fett line. And then I
Oh man, that
also
is.
got the San Diego Comic Con. Now this has never been open. I don't know if I'm going to open it, but this was the
Mhm.
San Diego Comic Con exclusive, and it's still sealed top and bottom. And if it was, it would you would set it, you take this part here off, and when you did, it would fold out like you're opening up a gun cabinet, and his
Mhm.
weapons would be on one side of him, on the other side of him, and then he would be in the middle. And then from there, I end up getting character I like from the expanded universe of Star Wars. She
Mhm.
was in the video games and stuff. So, and then I had to get Nikki Asuka.
Mhm.
Um, so we got all these for the Star Wars Day on Amazon. So for everything I got here, we got for like 25 bucks, free shipping.
Mhm.
So couldn't really pass that up. Um, so yeah, it's a great time, especially right now with Star Wars. The great time right now is also you got things going on with Fortnite. We got some things we're going to talk about dealing with Star Wars, which is going to be from the official website, which we're going to be taking a look at. Um, so as I'm getting this stuff pulled up, so now, do you have a time while I'm pulling this up? Do you have a time that you're setting up um, for a show? Have you got that yet?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. That'll be coming shortly, I bet you. It always does. When you get started, it starts a little slow always to get things going, but then
Mhm.
when it starts rolling, it rolls quickly. So, guys, this is what I wanted us to talk about a little bit is Star Wars, and this is from the official Star Wars website, and we have the new TV show Andor, the second season. And I have to say, it seems like they're checking all the boxes with this, and they have on the site some behind the scenes and some stuff. Now, have you been watching this one yet, Harold?
Um, I couldn't get past. Was it like the second episode? It just seemed a little. Don't interrupt. Well, don't interrupt. Uh, sorry about that.
That's all
Um,
right.
I I couldn't get past the second episode. I think it was because there was like
Really?
it just didn't click with me. It's like it didn't feel at first. Nothing looked like it didn't look like it was. I mean, I get it's the events leading up to Rogue One, but it just didn't. I mean, especially the face painting scene where they're painting their faces and is like, okay, what's happening here? This is weird, you know.
Oh man,
So,
I for me, out of all the Star Wars, I
uh huh.
I huge fan, love Star Wars, but
Hmm.
nothing has resonated with me like Rogue One, the movie did.
Right. Rogue One was awesome. I mean,
Yeah, it checked all the boxes and everything of what I want Star Wars to be. What Star Wars had always been. Um, the first
it
season of
was cool.
Andor. What now?
Sorry. It was cool getting to see, even though they had to make it like AI generated of Peter Cushing, and then as Grand Moff Tarkin, and bringing back Darth Vader. That was
Yep.
like,
And it did really really well in my eyes. The next thing
hmm
that really struck to me was the first season of Andor.
hmm
I it right away immediately it captivated me, made me go, okay. I don't know how I feel about a prequel TV show to a prequel movie that led
right,
into the rebellion, but then how they molded the episode and handled the episode and each and every one was great. This season though, um again, I know that this is the final season, and I know that the director for this is really hoping that Disney is going to say, okay, we're going to help let you take over some of the reins of future shows. And so I feel
right,
like with this season here, he's really having to try and put everything out there with the captivate with new fans and old fans. And I've heard a lot of promising things. I've heard a lot of people sit there and said, okay, this is the only reason why they've gone back and got their Disney Plus back was so they could watch this because right off the bat, it is resonating again with the fans. They're showing you why it's so important to make Star Wars uh, relatable to people,
hmm
and I like it. I've liked everything. I can understand some like you're saying with the face paint and stuff,
hmm
but when you start digging into the stuff about why he had to go, he's been going into hiding. He's been doing other things since the last
right,
season. You're kind of they did well saying, okay, since there was a lapse in the first season to the second season, we're going to add that lapse into the story. And right off the bat, that he's already really entrenched with the Republic, or with the rebels, and knowing that this thing's going to end, the season's going to end with him, and they said it's going to butt up right up to Rogue One, where Rogue One opens up. That's where he comes into the picture of Rogue One. We're going to see where we have seen the girl that was in the movie, where her childhood and her meeting up with him. This season
hmm
here is to bump up and meet directly up to that moment where they both collide with each other. And I I think it's sad that the only thing that keeps keeping Star Wars alive right now isn't anything new, anything
right,
after a New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. The only thing that's keeping is the prequel era between episodes one,
right,
two, and three, and then things between episode three and episode four.
hmm
They're in this little pocket. I feel like they're in this little pocket universe right there, and um, I know that Star Wars has a lot of lore. I would love to
hmm
see something new happen. where it'd be more relatable. Being able to do some things for the future of Star Wars, because right now
Hmm.
they're only captivating the here and now, and they're not.
Right.
I don't feel like there's anything for future stories to be told. Um, I feel like eventually they don't leave Andor and Rogue One and Solo and Empire, Clone Wars, Bad Batch.
Right.
Now you got, which we're going to show off in a second. You've got the new cartoon coming out. Which did you watch that on Fortnite? The first two episodes.
Uh,
Uh, the
no, I don't think.
Tales of the Underworld.
No, but I'm wanting to start watching it though. Also, from what you've told me, it sounds like I need to give Andor another shot, another watch.
I really think, yeah, I really do think you should. I think that um, the way they're handling it and the way where they're going to go with it.
Hmm.
Um, I'm really hoping that, like, I pulled up just now, the timeline. Um, right now we're in the between the fall of the Jedi, the beginning of the reign of the Emperor, and the age of the rebellion is kind of like where we're stuck at. It's between the age of the
Hmm.
rebellion and the new republic.
Hmm.
Um, I'm hoping that maybe we could get something on the tail end or further out. But yeah, I mean, I think that for Star Wars fans, this is
Hmm.
something that if we show love for it, I'm hoping
Hmm.
that's going to resonate with Disney to say, okay, what is Andor? What is it doing? What is the new Star Wars cartoon?
Right.
I'm going to see if I can find, um, let's see, the
Because
series.
they've had so much stuff like, the Alkalite did not feel like Star Wars.
No,
Uh, then they had a few other ones. It's like this just does not feel like Star Wars. The Mandalorian. Me and my wife really love that one. Boba
yes.
Fett, we loved. Skeleton Crew. That is like, yes, this feels like Star Wars again. Yeah.
Yeah, Skeleton Crew, I would have to say Skeleton Crew, definitely. But again, we're still in that era. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they can do with Star Wars,
Hmm.
and they prove it when you have
Hmm.
something like this that I never thought that I would see Ventress be a main character and her not be a Sith apprentice,
Yes.
and Fortnite having the first two episodes for free during the watch
Oh
party.
man. And see, she's such a likable character. I mean,
Yes.
in a way.
Oh, she is. She definitely is. I mean, I liked her when Dooku introduced her as being his apprentice,
Because she
and
made a
then
heck of a villain. I mean,
oh yeah, and then the first two episodes, she actually saves a Jedi in the first two episodes, and it's like, whoa, wait a second, what now? And you realize that she's been keeping herself hidden all these years. That she looks at the world and she's like, I'm the reason why the world is the way it is. I'm the
mm,
one that made it happen. I'm the one that made us under this oppression. And her going, this is not how I envision the future, and it goes to that old saying that you sometimes if you live long enough, you recognize you're the villain of the story. And that's something that I see with her, is that it feels like she realizes now I am the villain of the story, and now I need to figure out how to fix this. And I love redemption stories,
kind of
being a
reminds me of
Christian.
the. Kind of
But
reminds me of the. I forget which Batman movie was. about you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain or something.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what you see with her. And right now, um, I see that this here can do really well. I mean, I would love to be able to show the trailer, but I don't know about the copyright stuff yet till I get that work, part out about reviewing stuff. But this right here, again, makes me realize recognize that there is a vast um world of Star Wars and their stories are not finished yet. And I'm hoping to see in the future, um, Disney and LucasArts going, okay, we're going to have to really see how this is captivating the audience, find out why this is captivating the audience, and then from there, milk the mess out of it. I mean,
Yes.
I
Any
mean,
good business person realizes that if if you want to keep going with anything, the best thing to do is listen to your customers, your consumers, because you learn the customer is always right.
yeah. And that's why I'm hoping that we're going to see, her from being this to her being this and recognizing that you do see that she is older and that maybe you see some wisdom comes from her being older than what how she was. I am looking forward to Asuka. I'm looking forward to the second season of that.
Yeah.
Um,
Sadly, a
Tales of
lot
the
of
End.
people seem to not like that for some reason, and
Again, I don't. When it comes to that, and hearing people complain about Ahsoka and stuff, and also with Obi-Wan,
hmm
um, I look at it and I go, y'all are people I don't think that you're going to be pleased with anything.
right,
Um, because with those stories and with the stuff that's going on with those, it's, you can clearly see with those stories alone that they are trying to. I mean, they show the power of Darth Vader. I mean,
yes,
and him actually able to hold back a whole starship from taking off and rips it apart like it's a tin can. Um, I I look at it and I'm going, y'all can't keep complaining about everything or we won't get anything. Alkalite
exactly.
absolutely can understand why people complained about it. That was the most horrible show. The Between acting and everything alone, it was just bad all the way around. Um, that that for me, it was enough for me to kind of say, yeah, if this is the future of Star Wars, then the future isn't going to be around much longer.
Yeah, because it
But
had points when it felt like it was going to start getting the good. It's like, all right, and then it's like, oh, and it's like, again, it didn't feel like Star Wars, you know?
no, um, you turn around and you have um, and I don't know why I guess maybe because it's the newest series. You have, but I haven't watched the Tales of the Empire yet. Um, Bad Batch is really good. Tales of the Jedi. That should be interesting. I like Kenobi. I actually
Mm,
like Boba Fett. I don't know,
yes,
and I don't know why a lot of people didn't like that.
I
Um,
don't know.
Rebels, I think is really good. Mandalorian is
Yes.
really good. Um, couple of the kid shows are like, oh, okay. And Legos. But I feel like if they stay on this course and really put out things like the Skeleton Crew, put out things for the Tales of the Underworld, Tales of the Empire, um, give us another season of Ahsoka. Um,
Yes.
I would love to see from there it moving forward to future projects that take place outside of, you know, this era. Just the like see if I can pull up the line the time frame. Oh, I don't know what I did with it. But I'm gonna go here. So we're gonna move our wheels towards this that came out, which I don't know if you knew this, but you got the second part of Star Wars has started
Hmm.
on Fortnite.
Oh yes.
Um, what's that?
I said, oh yes.
Yeah, and the other cool thing about it though is the fact that immediately it tells you to go and see and speak to Darth Vader. Um,
Hmm.
I was a little bit ticked off because earlier today when I felt like playing Fortnite, every time I went there, somebody has camped out where he's supposed to spawn, and when you Darth Vader shows up for you to go get to him, they're camped out there to kill people to come so they can't talk to him.
Right.
So that kind of made me a little bit upset. But what I was surprised by is that it is actually AI.
Hmm.
Um, uh, for this will be a day well remembered. Speak with Darth Vader on Fortnite because it is an AI voice generator to do the James Earl Jones's voice. So it's
Hmm.
the AI voice Darth Vader. It can swear and say Shabibi, toilet, and everything. So this is a big deal. Um, so it didn't take long for Epic. A lot of people didn't know this, but Epic had already been putting in AI bots um, in your gameplay. So when you
Oh
would go
yes.
to a lobby, and you're going to go to the battle part of it, not the Lego part or anything else, but the battle, um, you had um, AI robots are
Hmm.
inside Fortnite, and sometimes you would not only interact with them, but you may be even fighting a AI robot.
You can actually choose to fight. You know, the robot, the AI bots on there too. The 99 bots.
Yes,
One thing,
the
one
90.
of the things Caden likes to do, my buddy Caden that I tell you about, that likes to play Fortnite with me,
Yeah,
and that's one of the things that he'll want to play, and it's like, okay, we'll do this, you know.
that's cool. That's cool. And I didn't know that till I was looking into this because I had already had been privy to knowing that some of this stuff was happening. But you're not obligated to kind of when you find out something, some things you can share, some things people don't want you to share. And I
Hmm.
can understand why they really didn't want this to be where didn't want this to drop. They didn't want this to be spoiled till today. Now, Fortnite was supposed to update on May 15th. A
Hmm.
lot of people are saying, is this the reason why it was delayed a day? Was this not ready to go on the 15th? Was this why it was pushed back? The answer to that is no. The reason why we didn't get the update on the 15th and we got it on the 16th has everything to do with Apple. Um, this is to give our audience a little bit of understanding is that Apple and Epix have been in a court battle.
What?
Apple was not sharing how they were taking money. Like when you would go to your Apple store and you would get Fortnite,
Hmm.
somewhere in there, Apple was charging and wasn't supposed to be because Apple didn't put any of the hardware in. It all comes from Epic. Everything that
Hmm.
gets launched on launch day and every new season, Epic puts it out there for PCs, to the Xbox, to PlayStation, to Nintendo, and also to so um, and was sending it out to Apple and sending it out to for droids like my phone is. So
Mhm.
they already do all the work there, and then they send it out, and then those companies take it, put it on there, and then your system updates.
Mhm.
Well, Apple was collecting money of somehow and was literally taking and stealing money from Epic. So Epic went to court with them. Apple got pissy and they took Fortnite off of all Apple um any way for players to play Fortnite. They took it off of Apple, off their Apple store and Apple everything. Fortnite sued them
Mhm.
and was able to prove in a court of law that yes, Apple was the one that was in the wrong and that Apple was stealing their software. And from there, they won the case, they won the lawsuit. Apple has to fork out a nice big old paycheck to Fortnite. But when Fortnite sent them the files for the beginning of May,
Mhm.
and also to send them files for the beginning, because they also will send out the other patch, which would be the 15th. Apple refused to put it in the store. My wife has an Apple phone, so she's looking and she's like, I still can't play it there. I'm having to go through our Xbox if I want to do it on my phone. And so Apple was still not was dragging their feet. So they didn't do it. Epic apparently, I guess, must have did an injunction or something against Apple. Apple was supposed to have to the 15th. Again, that this was the reason why for the delay. Uh, Fortnite decided not to update everything on the 15th and have it ready on the 15th at 4 o'clock in the morning. They let it just ride and sit there so that they could say Apple is the reason why our stuff was delayed a day. So that's the
Mhm.
reason why it came out on the 16th and not the 15th, which in business sense, I understand what they're doing. They're playing hardball with Apple
Mhm.
because Apple feels like they feel they're too big for they're like the bully in the on the school playground till they
Mhm.
meet the bigger bully and or meet David and Goliath and they think they're Goliath and they forget to read the Bible where Goliath got knocked out by a
Yeah.
rock between the eyes. And so that's what Epic has done. But the big thing that they wanted to keep quiet was the fact that this was going to be an AI generated, and that when you get Darth Vader, it's not going to be just someone that like you can go and buy a bot and he'll follow you around and maybe
Mhm.
splash some water on you. No, the character himself is completely ran by AI. So he fights with you, but he fights for himself. I mean, he will. And I saw somebody today that had him, and the guy was able to just go and hide in the bush. And I watched as Darth Vader went out, seeking out the opponent, and
Oh,
just
crap.
decimated the guy, decimated him. I mean, it was like time after time, Vader grabbing him and pulling him towards him and throwing out the lightsaber, and I was like, "Holy crap!" And to be able to interact with him, and he sounds like, like he's supposed to in the AI voice, and the whole time that you get into a battle, whatever Darth Vader says is what the AI feels. Like he is like if he's mad,
Mhm.
he'll have Star Wars type of profanity, so not like our profanity, but what you would say, droid buckets and stuff like that. But
Or Dank Farrick, like
yeah,
they say on the Mandalorian.
exactly. And I was like, that is so cool. So complete with
Bantha
AI
Buddha.
enabled voice. the late actor James Earl Jones for a conversation with players for Vader to top the F bomb, to drop the
Yeah.
F bomb. I mean, was as actually crazy. The Epic again just took it to another level. And for Star Wars, I think this is awesome. Um, I think I'm a huge Darth Vader fan. Loved him as a kid. I mean, when other kids are wanting to be Luke or Han or I'm like, I'm Darth Vader. My mom, as a kid, has pictures where she bought me the Darth Vader helmet, and then it had that big old lightsaber as a kid. And when you threw it,
Hmm.
it made the whoa because the air would catch the top of it because it was nothing but
Hmm.
like a big old red pipe with a silver at the end of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, man, this to me, uh,
From
absolutely awesome.
from the
Uh,
first moment as a kid when you hear him say, "No, Luke, I am your father." It's like,
or or you do the Mandela effect, and it's actually Luke. I'm your father. We'll let some of the people look that up on the Mandela effect. Um, but yeah, man, it's like when when you know who he is and how he's like how powerful he is, and it's just like he's just an amazing character. Uh, I couldn't get enough of seeing him on the screen if they ever did. I was watching behind the scenes the Obi-Wan, and where the actor that played Anakin was in Ahsoka, and he actually says, I get in the Darth Vader outfit, for some of those cutaway scenes, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's just amazing. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, that's what Epic dropped today was this interaction. And if you want to, you can go here, you can read the whole thing from this. It's going to be replacing this Darth Vader Samurai. I have the Darth Vader Samurai skin. I'm hoping to be able to get this
Mhm.
skin because he came out whenever I was not um, playing Fortnite. So I'm really hoping this
Mhm.
skin comes out. So, so far for the future of Star Wars, seeing this, it really does say, feel as if they know they're in the right they're at
Mhm.
least doing it the right way. They're at least bringing it to fans and saying, let's make this relevant. Let's make it where people want to um, see this stuff. And on top of that, I mean, they do something else that I was surprised by. Um, right, what got released at 8 o'clock today on Fortnite was Dark Jar Jar.
Dark Jar
I was
Jar, huh?
so what you have you seen this yet? The Dark Jar Jar yet?
Not other than the trailers.
Oh man, I okay, there is always been a Star Wars lore. And someone I think on YouTube, I don't know if it's still up or not, they did a whole little story and
Mhm.
showed in detail how Jar Jar really was a Sith Lord,
Mm.
and goes into like he goes so deep into it. He even goes and takes still images from the all three movies, all three prequels, and he goes, take a look at the hand movement. Like for one in general, is like whenever he's walking up behind Padme, and he goes, "You're saying you all going to die," and he does his hand like someone that would be a Force user. That would you go, these are not the droids you're looking for.
Mhm.
And he breaks down and shows Jar Jar using the same hand gestures and the same abilities that a Force user would use, and that he made himself get into the position, because it is Jar Jar that announces Palpatine to be the Emperor, for him to
Mm,
be given the powers of Chancellor, all the powers to you. It's Jar Jar that does that. And when you God breaks it down, and it's like, wait a second. So it made me go back and relook at the movies when I had seen it, and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. Everything is like this whole hand gestures, everything is like, oh my word, yeah, this is definitely something they could say that he's a Sith Lord. Well, and so Fortnite brings it out that you can actually get him uh, as a Sith Lord. Let's
hmm.
see if I can. I'm gonna try and pull it up and see if I can find it for you. So, what do you think about it?
That's kind of interesting. I mean,
Yeah, I was so surprised, and that you're taking something that that. Oh wait, I think I have it. All right, so I think I have found the video. So I am going to see about us doing a quick look at this. So anybody that's in there can actually see what Otto is saying, that he's not just losing his mind here. He's going to show us. So
letting them know you're
all
not
right,
out of your gourd, right?
I know, right? I don't know how the audio and stuff's going to be, so we're going to give it a shot. So there is this theory that Jar Jar,
Evidence from the prequels to support this captivating
can you hear it?
hypothesis. Jar Jar
Yeah,
Binks,
I hear.
introduced in The Phantom Menace, has widely been criticized for his clumsy and bumbling persona. However, a closer examination of his survival skills in conflict situations reveals a level of competence that starkly contrasts with his seeming inept behavior.
Yep.
Indeed, in the heat of battle, Jar Jar displays an uncanny ability to survive and even thrive, which at first appears to be the result of sheer luck. During the Battle of Naboo, he is seen stumbling into enemy lines, inadvertently causing destruction and chaos among the
See, look
Trade
how the gun
Federation's
shoots
droids.
right where he's
Jar
aiming,
Jar's
Mhm.
handling of the Gungan energy balls, or
and then it
boomers,
just
during
goes
the
right
battle
into the
also
hole.
shows him inadvertently causing damage to the droid army. His seemingly random tosses results in the destruction of multiple battle droids and tanks. His interactions, which lead to the droid tank's destruction, at first appears to be a series of fortunate accidents. However, the efficiency with which these accidents occur hint at a possible Force intuition guiding his actions, allowing him to be effective in combat despite his overt clumsiness, contributing significantly to the Gungan army's success.
Yeah,
This level of effectiveness in the frenzy of the battlefield aligns more with the calculated maneuvers of a trained operative than with the fortuitous accidents of a fool. Indeed, analyzing Jar Jar during the battle reveals similarities to the ancient Chinese combat style of Zhao Guan, manipulated.
now,
Expanding on the theme of Jar Jar Binks' political maneuverings and their implications for the rise of the Galactic Empire, let's delve deeper into the more concrete examples that underscore the theory of his strategic involvement in key events during the prequels. Firstly, Jar Jar Binks' transition from an outcast in The Phantom Menace to a representative and senator in Attack of the Clones is remarkably rapid. Given the Gungan's initial portrayal as inept, his elevation to such position of influence suggests an unnatural proficiency in navigating the complex political landscapes of the Galactic Republic. This ascension is particularly
pay
curious
attention to it,
given that
Andrew.
Naboo already had capable leaders like Queen Amidala. His
Yep.
appointment could be seen as a strategic placement, aligning with Sith tactics of placing operatives in key political positions. Indeed, during a critical moment in the Galactic Senate, it is Jar Jar who proposes giving Supreme Chancellor Palpatine emergency powers to deal with the Separatist threat. This motion is arguably the most crucial step in Palpatine's plan,
Yep.
allowing him to legally form the Grand Army of the Republic and setting the stage for his eventual declaration as Emperor. Jar Jar's proposal, which he makes while serving as a stand in for Senator Amidala, does not seem to align with his character's perceived naivety. but rather suggests a calculated move to facilitate Palpatine's rise to absolute power. The significance of this act cannot be overstated. It's the legal foundation upon which the Galactic Empire was built. For a character portrayed as comic relief, this moment of political influence is incongruous, unless viewed through the lens of intentional manipulation, possibly hinting at Jar Jar's deeper understanding or involvement with Boo could be seen as leveraging the Force. Jar Jar's influence on
Right here
characters
is what
such as
I'm talking about.
Qui-Gon Jinn
There was
and
this
Padme
kid,
Amidala in The Phantom Menace serves as a strategic purpose.
and
His seemingly random or nonsensical utterances and actions might actually reflect a deep understanding of individual psychology and the
when he does the
Force.
thing
For
behind it,
instance, Jar Jar's ability to persuade Qui-Gon to take him to the Galactic Senate, as well as convincing Padme to return to Naboo, could be
yep,
seen as leveraging the Force
look at the
or
hand.
psychological techniques, rather than just simple luck or plot convenience. His effectiveness in these scenarios hints
And
at the
so with
ability to
this,
manipulate
I
outcomes
could
in
watch this
subtle
thing
ways,
all
perhaps
the way,
indicating mind tricks
and
beneath his
I'll put a
clownish
link
exterior.
for anyone who wants to watch the whole thing. But the fact that you have in Fortnite where they're going to have Dark Jar Jar, something that was a skit on Robot Chicken, I can't help but go, you know, it's
Mhm.
awesome way of handling it. It's awesome way of giving a nod to the fact that yeah, he could be um a Sith Lord, and no one knew he was the Sith Lord the entire time. And now we get to play that out on Fortnite, the theory that he was an actual Sith Lord. I wanted to show his Sith Lord outfit for Fortnite. But yeah, what's your thoughts about him being a Sith Lord?
uh, that, like I said, that's kind of interesting. I mean, I it does seem kind of logical, although they always say always two there are, no more, no less. But there are times like in Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, Darth Vader starts uh, training a secret apprentice and all that.
Yep. Yeah, he starts training a secret apprentice. Where um which is I think is Star Destroyer. Is that his name?
Star Killer.
Yeah, Star Killer. Thank you. So I mean, you can't help but look at it and go, could there be more than meets the eye?
Well,
Maybe, maybe not.
at one time before all the before there was a whole Sith empire.
Yes,
If you play go back and play Knights of the Old Republic, or read some of the
I
older comics.
yep. That's where one of my comic books is. What the Yeti that I create is in one of the comic books. I mean, um, it wasn't till Darth Bane that you had
Hmm.
the two. That was the only time it was implemented, was at that moment.
Hmm.
And while a
And there
lot of
were
people don't think,
actually some Sith that were actually good and some that were bad. It
yep,
was like, they were just like any other
they were
group
just
of
force
people.
users. Yep.
Hmm.
It wasn't till the now, and the crazy thing is that there's like I think five different factions of Jedi,
Hmm.
and the Sith were a part of it. And then it wasn't till Yoda and his faction that took over the Jedi and pushed out the Sith. And a lot of people don't realize it, but that's why Anakin, when he was to be the balance of the Force was already out of balance. Yoda and the way they were training the Jedi at the
Hmm.
temple was not in league with the natural order of the Force. And so, they didn't want to
Well, by the
have
clone.
another Sith war, and they
Hmm.
didn't want to have another war with the Mandalorians. So they
Right.
became their own opposition, where they became a running faction. It's the reason why they were considered generals. No one ever sits there and goes, "Wait a second, why was a Jedi a general?" And the
Right. They had
reason why is
became
they're
more
yeah,
from instead of just keepers of the peace, they were becoming warriors instead of just keepers of the peace then. And
yep.
it was like they had completely lost their way.
And I think the greatest way of proving that they had lost their way was how they handled Asuka when
Mhm.
she quit being Anakin's Padawan. It was the fact that she recognized she had was enough more sensitive to recognize that what they were doing was wrong. This was not what a Jedi was supposed to do. This was not a Jedi. This was, I mean, she even says to Anakin, why are we leading? Look at all the men that have died under me. Why am I their leader? I'm only a child. And he goes, because we're at war, and at war it calls for certain things, and she sits there and she's like, but this isn't right, master. And then whenever, there's uh she's suspect as being someone that was being influenced by the Sith, and how Yoda and Mace Windu, and what a lot of people don't realize is that animosity that Anakin had uh, came why he went against Mace Windu like he did and cut his hand off and threw him out the window,
Hmm.
was that Anakin was already had him and Yoda. Those are the two Jedi masters he despised and hated. Uh,
Hmm.
and so when he goes and says, "Hey, you know, this is the Emperor, this is the Sith Master," Anakin doesn't. He acts like he's toying with it, and if you really look at the movie, it's only Anakin's getting closer and closer to Mace Windu so he can do what he did to Count Dooku and cut his hands off, because the Jedi without his hands is going to be not able to hold the lightsaber, and it's not going to be a threat to him. So the animosity that he had for Mace Windu came from what happened with Ahsoka. And I look at Star Wars and recognize that, George Lucas has a line in the movie that's my favorite line in any movie out there. Queen
Hmm.
Amidala, Padme, sits there and says, with thunderous applause, "Liberty dies."
Yeah.
She recognized that with how much we are fearing our neighbor and fearing the
Hmm.
person beside of us, we're going to let go of all our freedoms because of fear. And
Yep.
Anakin was honestly someone who deals with PTSD like I do. I see the traits of PTSD in Anakin, where he has
Yeah.
become so much dealing with the war and
Hmm.
what he had to do in the war. They didn't realize that he was the balance. He was going to be the opposition. He was going to change the Jedi and do away. I mean, it's the reason why in the books before, we have the new stuff, but in the books, Luke has a hard time starting the Jedi Order up.
Yeah.
Um, in the books he talks about, am I doing the right thing starting the Jedi Order? And that's the reason my father had to bring balance to the Force, was to get rid of the Jedi Order. So when the prequels came out, I wasn't upset whenever Luke took Rey's lightsaber out of her hand and threw it off the cliff, because in the books that was something he dealt with, and in the comic books he
Like
does
the
start the Jedi.
sequels.
yeah, the sequels, the 6, 7, or what, 7, 8,
Yeah,
9,
you said
with
prequels, but
Ray,
I
but
think you meant.
yeah, 7, 8, 9, the sequels where, and I wasn't upset when he threw the lightsaber out of Ray's hand and threw it away.
Right.
Um, because in the old stories, you know, Luke ends up getting Mara Jade, and
Mm-hmm.
marries Mara Jade. He has a child. He loses his wife to his nephew Jason, who
Mm-hmm.
kills her, and his sister Jenna has to kill him to stop him from being the Sith Lord. And and the whole at the end of all that, Luke looks and goes, "If I never started the Jedi Order, my niece and nephew would still be alive. Leia and Han wouldn't be burying a second child."
Right.
Um, and that was the old books, and that hit me hard because it was like you want him to succeed, and he realizes that starting the Jedi Order, and then that's when he's like, my father did away with the Jedi Order.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is this the reason why he destroyed the Jedi Order? Am I just picking up where Yoda and Obi-Wan's teachings? And then that's when Luke goes and he actually goes to the dark side for a little bit to
Mm-hmm.
see the counter side of the dark side so that he could then bring it under balance. And that's why in the old books, the ones that are no longer in canon, but is that Luke actually used Force lightning. He used the
Mm-hmm.
Force choke. He used um, Sith teachings, and he used Jedi teachings, and he
Mm-hmm.
merged them together. It's how he was able to bring, his wife to the light side. So, um, with that, I feel like, Star Wars can be in good hands when you can still have something like this that says, "Hey, Jar Jar was always a Sith Lord," and you get to play that out as your fantasy. I mean, I'm getting to drive around on Fortnite and Knight Rider in the kit car. I mean, I can't. I mean, Fortnite for me is like the greatest game out there. But
Mm-hmm.
what as we're coming to the close of the show, what's your thoughts about um as we're for Star Wars? Do you think you think that we might be seeing a turnaround for the better?
I, you know, it's tough to say, but I seriously hope so because Star Wars is it's not just for the generation. It's not just for your generation, my generation. It's like for all generations, just about. Or
Yes.
and it would be even cooler if they would. You know, they have hinted that ET is canon
Yes,
in the Star Wars universe.
he is.
Uh,
You did you see you do you remember seeing ET in the movie?
uh, I didn't pick it up at first, but when it was revealed on one of the "Did you know" things on YouTube, where it was like a reel I was watching where it showed the Easter of ET's people in the Senate on Phantom Menace, and I'm like, I didn't even catch that. How did I not catch that? But then that's exactly why on why ET recognizes when he sees the kid dressed as Yoda and he's home, home. I
Yep.
showed this to
Oh,
my sister. I showed this to my sister, and she sent back, and her reaction was like the "oh my god" face. Is because that's one of the things that as kids we never realized, but it's like, and then there's a comic book
yep.
uh, of the Asogians, which are ET's people. I think it would be interesting to see them. uh, in future Star Wars projects and actually
There you
be,
go.
you know, actually full on make the Star Wars universes merge. Star Wars and ET. I mean, they're already pretty much merged, but you get what I mean.
There's the image right there where you see them at the Senate. Um, and the other thing too is that if you go back and you watch the pod racing,
Mm-hmm.
as you're watching the pod racing, you see ET, and you'll see where Anakin's going around, and it will pan into the audience, and you'll see uh one this race right here, which is ET's race, and he's holding up a finger that's lit up,
Uh huh.
and it's in Phantom Menace during the pod racing scene. And then in the Empire Strikes Return of the Sith, this is the image right here that I'm showing, shows ET and his people sitting there in the Senate, cheering and everything. So yes, ET, and whenever he comes to Earth, he sees Yoda and he's going, "Halt," and that's because he recognizes Yoda
Mm-hmm.
and his race. And so it's always been an interest. It's the reason why he can levitate in the
Yep.
sky and make him fly as a thing. It's the reason why he does
Using the
certain things.
Force.
Yeah, he you watch ET,
ET's a
he
Force
uses
user.
force throughout the whole thing. And so yeah, the theory is that I will share this as a link also if anybody wants to look at this and watch it. But yeah, I was like very surprised. But yeah, that's the other wonderful Star Wars theory. So those things are there. But with
Because
that,
they were
what's that?
George Lucas and Steven Spielberg were, fans of each other's work, and they ended up being pretty good friends, and they end up doing those little Easter eggs, paying
Yep,
homage to each
each
other's
other.
work, pretty much.
Yep. And I mean, when you see it, it's like when you see it, and you can't unsee it, and it
Yes,
takes it to a whole nother level where it's like, wow, this is what's this is what it's all about. And that's the great thing about Star Wars is that it's in a galaxy far, far away. And there you have it. Well, as we're coming to a close, let them know what you got going on for this week. Anything special?
well, for this week, only thing I really got going on is getting some more yard work done, and maybe messing with my droids and robots a little bit, and then
That's
pretty
about
much
it.
that'll be it.
Well, I've got a commission work I need to work on this week. I have a kid reached out to me at Free Comic Book Day and wanted me to do a Riddler for him. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do a whole big 11 by 18 artwork for the kid and send it to him. So I got to work on. I was going to work on it this week, but the heat just killed me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it. Until next week, our other co-host should be back next week. Will had exams that he was finishing up in college, as he was getting ready to come to his end of graduating, and then he will be back here with us next week. I am going to keep the time around 8:30, 9 o'clock. And I think that is it. Until next time, guys, thank y'all so much for hanging out with us and just listening to us as we just rant about Star Wars. And let us know in the comments down below what your favorite character is, what was your favorite timeline, and what are you looking forward to at the future of Star Wars.
You
Bye.
want to tune in again?
Yes.